And when Blake Franks visited the Gamecocks on Junior Day back on January the 21st, he ended up doing an interview with Tiger Net's Nikki Hood, an article that I came across when I was looking up some stuff to talk about with Blake Franks here. And he had this to say about his visit to South Carolina at that point before he was about to visit the Clemson Tigers for their Junior Day on January the 28th. Quote, "When I went down to South Carolina for Junior Day, they answered a lot of questions about the engineering program, which is something I want to do. What I really want to know from Tiger Town is how family-oriented they are. I think that they are very family-oriented already. It's just that South Carolina is really family-oriented, a little bit more than Tiger Town." Now, this is something that when you take into the grand scheme of things, sort of how Clemson's perception has been painted in college football over the past 8, 9, 10 years or so. What is the main thing that you hear about Clemson? You hear about Clemson's culture. You hear about what Dabo Swinney has spent years and years building up. And mainly the fact that Clemson is just a different type of family culture and environment with their football program, something that you just do not get everywhere else. And the thing is, you got to admit, Shane Beamer has a similarity when it comes to Dabo Swinney in the sense that, in the same way, he's very much a people person. He is someone that really seems to emphasize family-oriented environments in his building. He wants the players to be hanging out with each other. He wants the coaches to be bringing their kids and wives to the building. He does not mind having immediate family members hanging out around the building while the coaches are doing their jobs during the day or maybe in the earlier portions of the evening hours, because obviously these guys work really hard, long, arduous schedules, and especially with college football these days, these jobs can be quite grueling. And so when you get that kind of environment, you can really sort of see, especially with the players' reaction, just how much of an impact it's having on your program. And for South Carolina, it is having such an impact now to the point where something is taking place right now that probably would not have taken place just, again, 5, 6, 7 years ago, which is in terms of the family atmosphere. South Carolina, based on just Blake Frank's recruitment, doesn't seem to be matching Clemson. It seems like that they are actually in the process of supplanting Clemson's family culture and being known as maybe the best family type culture, at least in the Southeast, maybe even the entire country, which with the way Shane Beamer and his staff have been recruiting recently, at this rate, they're going to have a pretty solid argument for that come the end of the 2024 recruiting cycle. Now, to get back to the recruitment specifically, in terms of the momentum right now, it seems like that South Carolina holds the edge here. And you've also got to take into account there's multiple other commits right now that are definitely in Blake Franks' ear, like Cam Pringle, Mazeo Bennett, and Dante Reno to a certain extent as well. And here's the other thing. One detail that I did not mention earlier about Blake Frank's clarification tweet from Wednesday night. At the time of this recording for the show, there were 61 comments on Blake Frank's tweet. And of those 61 comments, 58 of them were from South Carolina fans. And one of them included Mazeo Bennett saying, "Only one fan base in the comments section," obviously referring to the amount of love that he was getting from Gamecock fans, and also people who were being quite understanding of his whole situation, saying, "Look, take all the time you need, big fella. We're going to be waiting here whenever you are ready to make your final call." So with everything that I just went over in the past couple minutes, again, this is an in-state battle, and obviously Clemson has recruited at a very high level for several years, so you never know if they might be able to pull off, maybe one final visit and make one big final push at the final moments. But this seems like that Blake Franks is South Carolina's to lose at this moment in time. And could you imagine? South Carolina's already gotten Cam Pringle in the fold, and again, that commitment is very solid. It is just about ironclad. The way that he's been acting on social media and everything since he committed. You add Blake Franks to the fold, and then you got Josiah Thompson at a pipeline high school for South Carolina in Dillon High School, and you land him, let's say, at the very latest by the end of June. South Carolina will have swept the state in terms of the top offensive line prospects. And they would have gotten one out of Clemson's backyard in Greenville, another one at a pipeline school, again, continuing the tradition of getting guys from Dillon High School, and another one in the Low Country who is a national level prospect. Trust me, Clemson wanted all of these guys. Josiah Thompson, again, it seems like he's been South Carolina's to lose for a long time now, but Blake Franks and Cam Pringle, Clemson had their fair shots here, especially. And if South Carolina gets both of those guys at the end of this process, that says a lot about how things are changing in terms of recruiting in this state and recruiting maybe as a whole between Clemson and South Carolina.